Hello, I'm Juliana Hever, the plant-based dietitian, and this is the What Would Juliana Do Q&A. So many of you reached out and asked me about time-restricted feeding based on my comments about eating 1 or 2 times a day. So I thought, because I heard from so many people with so many different questions, I thought I would focus the entire episode on talking about this concept, this idea. So many of you have heard it's become very trendy to talk about intermittent fasting or cleansing and time-restricted feeding. And so what does it all mean? And it is really interesting. So there's different interpretations of this, and I think there's nothing in the science right now that says this is exactly how you have to do it and this is where the maximum benefit will come from. Instead, we are basing the information, if you look in the HealthSpan solution on page 59, we start talking about it there, that the only way, nutritionally speaking, that we have ever extended health span and longevity in every model organism tested, from yeast to primates, which are very similar to us, is with dietary restriction without malnutrition. What does that even mean? It actually looks like it's probably the essential amino acid restriction. So protein pursuers, take note about that, it's kind of important. But really basically just reducing your intake of food can help give you some of these benefits. And it's funny because I was going around touting and defending the nutrient adequacy of a whole food plant-based diet because of its extraordinary benefits. And no, we can get enough protein, we can get enough iron, but perhaps this is why, at least one of the reasons, it is so health promoting to eat a whole food plant-based diet. It's an easy way to do dietary restriction without malnutrition and satiation. It definitely is a very satisfying way to eat because it's high in fiber and nutrition, and you have to eat more volume in order to achieve, your nutrient adequacy, but you can. So it's very interesting. Now, it's a very interesting biologically speaking. There's a lot of circadian things that are going on. There's hormones that are released at different times of day. So there are better times of the day to eat than others. It is probably better to eat earlier in the day and to not eat several hours before going to bed, because you don't want to disrupt the whole process of falling asleep. And what happens is, from the last swallow of food, your body takes at least 4 to 6 hours to metabolize it and break it down and absorb and to get rid of that, to reduce that blood concentration of nutrition, and everything just to go back to homeostasis. This takes a little time. This takes 4 to 6 hours. So if we're constantly eating, breakfast at 8 a.m., snack at 10 a.m., lunch at 12 p.m., meal at 2 p.m., dinner at 6 p.m., if we are constantly in the fed state, our body doesn't have time away from feeding and all of that integral process of digestion and absorption. So, when you are not in that state, like while you are sleeping, very similarly, your body is able to perform all sorts of very important metabolic house cleaning. And, this is when it has time to get rid of things, to detoxify. So it is healthy to spend some time in the fasted state. Now, here's the question: how long are we supposed to spend in the fasted state? That's why you hear people going, I do, 1 meal a day, or I do, 18-6, or 18 and 6, 12 and 12. People have all these different numbers where they think that that's how they're doing it. And we don't know which one's better or not. All of them work because, to some extent, and it'd be fun to study all of those and compare them, because you're just having time in the fasted state. That's what we're going for. So, of course, I can't give recommendations here. I do work with clients one-on-one, which you could find me at plantbaseddietitian.com. But of course, I have to do a full analysis of your medical history, your lab work, your diet, your fitness levels, everything, to be able to give accurate and safe recommendations. So instead, I'm just going to share what I do and how I personally have taken the scientific information that I've read and I'm researching and making decisions that for myself, to how I'm putting it into action. Okay, so I eat, it depends. If I'm trying to lose a couple pounds for, an event or something like that, then I will stick to probably 1 meal a day. And this consists of obviously always whole plant foods. So I vary between what I'm eating every day and that 1 meal. I do get quite full, but not extra. I don't overdo it and make myself sick, because I see a lot of people doing that. I don't recommend that. That's not good either. You don't want to get into that binge and then fasting mode because that's not going to be healthy in the long run. So if I'm not losing weight, which is most of the time, I'm just on neutral and just trying to stay healthy, I will eat twice a day. So I basically will have a smaller version of those meals and twice a day, and I space it about 4 to 6 hours from beginning the first swallow to the last swallow. So usually I will wait in the morning, like I've been drinking tea. I drink tea in the morning. Sometimes I'll have coffee, and then water. I drink water. I kind of hydrate throughout the day and I stay busy during the morning. And then I'll have my first meal around 12 or 1 o'clock. And then if I'm done for the day, I'm done for the day. I may have some tea or something later, but nothing with calorie. And then if I'm on maintenance mode or whatever, regular, not weight loss mode, which is most of the time, then I will have my second meal. So that is how I have put this into action for my life. And I feel like it's done a lot of wonderful things for me. I feel better. My GI tract feels better. I enjoy eating this way. And when I do eat my meals, my whole food plant-based meals are usually a soup or salad or a combination of the two. I always say hummus should be a food group, and that's what I had yesterday. And I have some more that I made that I will probably be enjoying today, but also I'm eating my cauliflower rice mushroom recipe, my cream of mushroom cauliflower rice recipe that I always talk about because it's really satisfying and delicious and nutritious. So, but there are hundreds of recipes in our books, and all of my books, and on my website at plantbaseddietitian.com. I have tons of recipes that fit this bill that you could play with, whole food plant-based. Oh, and one more thing I really want to talk about is that people keep saying, how do I get the 6 daily threes when I'm doing this, when I'm time restricted feeding, or when I'm limiting, or when I'm losing weight, any of those things. Remember that losing weight is a finite period of time, and you're not focused on getting enough. You know, we're always worried about getting enough. But if you're trying to lose weight, just spend a time reducing, get it done, and then go back to worrying about the 6 daily threes. Because long term, I want you to eat the 6 daily threes. I want you to eat legumes and nuts and seeds and vegetables, leafy green and cruciferous vegetables, mushrooms, well, you know the list. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices in infinite tasty combinations. But during weight loss, it's a temporary period of time. Reduce, it's okay. You know, you could take a multi if you feel comfortable. Again, this is not advice. I'm just telling you a little bit about what I do with my clients, and that is one way to approach it, and then deal with the long-term whole food plant-based diet, eating consistently and maybe bumping up to 2 times a day. Some people still eat 3 times a day. I do not snack. I will do a whole episode on that, and that is a question I've seen a lot as well. So thank you for joining me. I hope that helps, and please leave your questions and comments below, or DM me, or reach out via my website at plantbaseddietitian.com. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.